All right, y'all. So this is the update from my son. So after I took him to the dentist, um, it took my oldest daughter and myself to kind of pacify my son because at one point they kicked me out of the room and basically they said because I'm pregnant right now, I couldn't be there during the X-ray, which at that point that's when I went and retrieved my oldest daughter and basically she um, came to be with my son just to kind of soothe him, which I'm super, super grateful for because at the end of everything, the doctor himself, um, meaning the dentist, obviously, and also the amazing nurses that were there. I'm super thankful for them. They're absolutely amazing. They did a really awesome job with my son. However, the receptionist really had a crummy attitude, but I guess it's a price to pay when you need something. But it was told to me that my son has cracks in his teeth from when he fell and got injured, on top of like a cavity on the side. So unfortunately, he is gonna have to have them fixed. I think that they are planning to do fillings. So at this point, I'm thinking white fillings because the silver has a lot of developmental issues with it. There's a lot of basically health impairments that come from the silver filling caps, and I'm not willing to see my son go through that struggle any more than he has already. And it really just kind of hit home for me because, I had seen my brother and my mom, which I hadn't seen in a number of months. Um, what was that? I think on Saturday. And my mom was just talking and talking and talking. And at one point, there was like, I guess, a park bully or whatever who decided to push my son off of the like little play center, if you will. And he hit the side of his head, which caused him to have balancing problems, which is kind of leading me to believe that because of that, he could potentially have like brain swelling or some kind of internal bleeding. I will tell you right now, as of today, he's able to kind of walk, but he still feels like that uncertainty with his balance, which that in of itself pisses me the fuck off. Um, because my mom should not have been distracting me to the point that this little kid hurt my son like that, and not to that extent, certainly. The piece of shit grandparent of this child decided to run off because they seen me dogging them and they knew what was coming. And so they basically walked off instead of going face on and dealing with the issue. But so, glory be to God that my son got the dental care that he needed. He needed that exam so that we could kind of figure out what needs to be done. I just kind of figured the bottom teeth look fine. They don't look that bad to me. I can most likely treat it with coconut oil pooling at home, which is what we were doing prior to his injury. And he was thriving. He was actually doing really amazing, and I'm so proud of him. And now, his older sister and I have that kind of sentiment now that we have to look for a pediatric dentist and surgeon because they said already they're gonna have to put him under so that he's not fussing and fighting and everything in between. But to me, I think laughing gas would be sufficient. But some of these doctors just are all 50 shades of a mess, and some of these damn dentists have had malpractice here in the state of Nevada. And so it's very important, for me as his mom, as an activist, as a wife, sister, whatever, that we really do our, investigating before we take him in. Also, I called a specialist today. They also said that there was an appointment for 6 months out, which personally I think in 6 months from now, it will probably be a lot more worse. So I'm trying to do this within a week-to-week basis so that this way, my son can heal adequately, just go back to his regular old life, no complications. Again, I like to point out the fact that my sister and her husband are largely responsible for what transpired. But if anything, they both played a vital part in the incident. My sister gave the dog to her son, and her husband just stood there like an imbecile, just allowing the kid to be acting a fool. Which basically and ultimately ended up in my son getting a head injury on top of all the dental injuries that he suffered. And I'm not okay with that. I said it in my previous vlog, and I'm going to say it right fucking now. I am planning to press charges against my sister's husband. Not only am I going to press charges against him for being negligent enough not to stop his son, I want compensation for my son and everything that he's about to go through, because he's going to have to endure a massive surgery at not even 5 years old. Most kids typically don't start getting oral operations until they're like late in their years of age. Like my oldest daughter, she's 10, so from that age on forward, that kind of thing is expected. Now don't get me wrong, I know there's some deadbeat ass parents out there who let their kids eat whatever, however, whenever, and it fucks up their teeth. Now those kids absolutely require it early, but my husband and I are very responsible. We are very precautious, and the fact that she just had her husband standing there idly, and he refused to step in and step up, told me a lot about him, and it told me a lot about how he's raising his kid, and he's a future piece of shit. So I said what I said. I don't take it back. I mean, it's just the truth. If it hurts their feelings, then you know what? Maybe that will be a changing point or marker to where they change how they raise him. Maybe it will be the point to where those necessary differences start taking place. Because truth be told, a 7.5-year-old kid with a emphasis in Taekwondo has absolutely no business picking on a 4-year-old. Now you gotta understand, my son was only 4 when this happened. He's currently 5 years old. He just had his birthday a week and a half ago. Okay? Let me tell you a couple fucking things here. I am planning to press charges. I called the lawyer today. I took him to the clinic already. Got pretty much everything that I needed. However, I called the medical office today, and they said that they're going to email me the x-rays and everything else from my son's visit so that I can present it to a local attorney's office. And so I'm going to most likely be doing that tomorrow. I'm also going to be calling the legal aid office so I can know what step to better take. I will tell you right now, I expect full compensation for the injuries that my son sustained, and due to the fact that he has to get this operation, because truth be told, no child his age should have to get any kind of fucking operation until they're much, much, much older. Okay? So compensation, I am going to press charges. I don't know if they're going to arrest him or not, but if that happens and they do take him to jail, good, because this motherfucker is a 43-some-year-old man. He should have stepped the hell up. He should have been a responsible father, which obviously he's not, and so, truth be told, my son should not be going through any of the stuff that he's going through, period. If they are angry at me, sentimental, emotional, who fucking gives? Because of the fact that he sustained those types of injuries. It took me 30 minutes to stop the bleeding in his mouth. And that was a huge if. That was if we could have stopped it. My sister then proceeded to get in my way and pretended to give a shit. Now let me tell you something. You can always tell when somebody's narcissistic and abusive by the way they compose themselves, by the way they talk, by the way they act around others, and seeing if they are compassionate or not. Those are the fine lines and the differences. And let me tell you, that day, this bathroom can literally only fit like 1 or 2 people. And that day, it was my oldest daughter, myself, and my son, because he had sustained that injury. Now, I will tell you something. It hit me like a ton of fucking bricks the other day. I feel like they are trying to severely injure my oldest son, which I am not okay with. And like I had already stated, I absolutely am going to press charges. I absolutely am going to get compensation for my son. because my son should not be having to go through any of this shit. He was, with his teeth, he was doing really well with the oil pulling and the constant brushing of his teeth, all of that. And then here comes Miss Know-It-All with her nose up her ass and her fucking know-it-all husband. And as a result, that's what happened. My son got injured. So I will tell you right fucking now. I called the dentist's office. I took him in, had him examined. I know what needs to be done. He probably most likely needs some types of white fillings. And then probably most likely after he heals from that, I will proceed to get him braces so that his teeth can get kind of put back together, so to speak. But for right now, I called the lawyer's office today. I explained in full detail everything. That's when she notified me that I need to call the legal aid instead of their office because they handle more custody and divorce cases, if anything, which is fine. I was just glad and humbled to be in the presence of my... Emma, you better listen. I was just humbled enough to be in the presence of my friend, who that is his law firm right there. Edgar Flores. He's just a real piece of work, and he does believe in the people, the cause, the movement, and busting his ass for those that he cares for. And it was just the most humbling experience to be among an attorney's office that was just, they treated me like I was family. I just felt so appreciated and so loved in that moment, regardless of my challenges and struggles and things like that. But I explained to them, and she went ahead and gave me the number to the other firm that I need to be calling. And I'm going to be calling the police department tomorrow to see how I can proceed to press charges on my sister's husband. And things are definitely picking up momentum, and things are definitely moving. So like I said, just because this happened like 2 to 3 months ago doesn't mean I have forgotten, doesn't mean I'm going to forget. It is here to stay. I do intend to get him justice, and I'm also going to go public with what her husband just stood there and allowed to do. You know, especially because he works in the school district setting, and just that in general in itself. You can't be a man enough to be a father, but then you're gonna feel like you can go work with a community. Please help me make fucking sense of that, please. Anyways, y'all, like I said, and this is the final thing I'm gonna tell you for today. I took him to the dentist. They did let me know that on these teeth up here, they have cracks from when he got hurt. He also, has a little baby cavity there growing, so they do want to stop it before it continues to grow. So they did refer me to a pediatric specialist. However, the one that I was referred to does not have an active appointment for 6 months on out. So I'm going to proceed to look for a pediatric specialist who can see my son right now, either this week or next week, so we can get this knocked out and get it out of the way, and he can just start feeling better. If after I press the charges he gets taken to jail, fucking great. That would be the best news in all of my life. You know why? It's not that I want to be a bitch or a cunt or anything like that. He is a 43-year-old man who allowed his son, who is 7.5, to victimize my now 5-year-old son. He was 4 at the time of the injury. He was, and still is, a little baby. And he should have never had to fucking endure that bullshit. And the fact that they pushed us into going into this walk really set me over the fucking edge. And not only that, but the fact that he was bleeding for 30 minutes consecutively and straight, and I was struggling to actively stop the bleeding. And then she comes at me with this disingenuous act of fucking bullshit ass kindness. She goes to her refrigerator. Okay, hear me out. I have practiced natural holistic medicine for 9.5 years, going on 10 already. And, there are different types of ice packs that a person or child will require dependent on their injury and where it is located. There are ice packs for the oral injuries that you sustain, whether you fall and get hurt or you are having a major operation or whatever. And there's also ice packs that are tendered to muscular and or fractures. And this one was not the oral ice pack. It just so happened that it was meant for like an exterior injury to the bone, etc. So that right there just showed me that she was very disingenuous, didn't mean what the fuck she was doing, and that I have another problem with. You gotta understand that my mom and my sister are incredibly narcissistic. They no longer are in touch with reality, so therefore they lost that capability to really see good versus evil, bad versus good, the whole shit show. But hopefully this week I can call the medical office back, get those x-rays and the other evidence that I need. And as soon as I get that, I will be pressing charges against her husband. So, if that's what they're emotional about, great. I hope they are. And I hope that when he's sitting behind those fucking bars, he really, really has a very good understanding of what assault on a minor means. Because this shit ain't no joke. And I'm not the kind of mom that you can just fuck around with and try to pass shit by. I am the one that will fucking make sure that you get punished for whatever the fuck it is that you do. So, fuck with me not, because I am not with the fuckery, okay? And that's just what it is. So, right now, like I said, I only have the evidence for the attorney. I plan to call the local attorneys, the other attorney, mind you, not my friend's firm. But I am going to call. I'm going to make sure that tomorrow I get those x-rays and other evidence for the judge and the attorney. I definitely want compensation for my son, because the reality and the truth and the bottom line is that he should have never been experiencing the things that he did. Unfortunately, he did, and he still is to this very day, and it is greatly affecting his dietary plan, and I don't appreciate that shit not one bit. So, for them to make the smart-ass, petty-ass motherfucking comments behind my back the way they did, you guys really don't know where you stand, do you? It's amazing, but nonetheless, I'm going to get him justice. And I'm here to say, I'm not going to bow down to fucking anybody just because you are family. Family when it's convenient. Family when they want to be or when they choose to be. Let me fucking make this known right now. If you betray my sons or daughters, or you betray me, you will not be hailed any kind of family. And I do not give a shit if you have the same bloodline as me. Period.